A, a very warm good evening to all of you. Welcome to the 178th session of Centa's webinar series for teachers. I hope all of you are keeping safe and staying healthy. The topic for today's webinar is stressful to stress free, mastering the skill. And the facilitator for this session is Miss Shweta Batra. A very warm good evening to you, ma'am. A very warm welcome to you for this session. Mrs. Batra is an educator, psychologist, and trainer. She is a MA in English and Psychology, B.Ed and PGD ME. She is the former principal of Singath Springdale School and Junior College, Mumbai. She has over 18 years of experience in the field of child education and development, and over 10 years of 10 years experience in staff development. She has developed content for preschool, elementary school, and teacher training courses. She is a co-author and has taken multiple workshops and sessions for the students, teachers, and parents as an educator and psychologist. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Before I hand over the session to our facilitator, Mrs. Batra, I would like to inform all the teachers that they will receive participation certificates for the session. So please do fill out the feedback form that will be shared with you towards the end of the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Harsha, and a very good evening to all of you. Our topic, as we see, is stressful to stress free, and we are wanting to master the skill. The thing is that, first of all, being stress free is not an act, it's not a one day habit, it's a skill that we need to develop over the years of time. So, before we get on to this topic running through, I would want to congratulate each one of you for having taken the decision of being a teacher or a school head, and having this noble adopting this noble occupation or profession. And by and large, it's the most rewarding profession that I would believe that one could be in. And I would also want to say a warm welcome to the nation builders, because that's what I firmly believe we are, right? So, and my endeavor here and always through life has been is to share and make each other's life productive, progressive, and peaceful, because at the end of the day, or to begin with, it's always making a productive life, a progressive life, and a peaceful life. I'm sure you all agree with me. When I also said that we are in a very rewarding profession, I'm sure many of our participants would have, probably raised their eyebrows or, shrugged their shoulders. Agreed, maybe we are not in a very great remuneration scale, but nonetheless, the rewards that we get in the kind of, the love, the respect, the affection that we get from our students is something that cannot be measured in terms of, money. So I always call it a very rewarding profession. So we move on to this, and with this thought, let's first of all, when we want to talk about ourselves, we want to talk about stress. The most important thing is that we need to dive into ourselves and introspect. And when we talk about introspection, it has to be as it is, where it is. There is no point putting any screen guards or putting any, filters to it, because it's we who ourselves. And if we really want to get there, we need to be very true to ourselves. So let's start introspecting. And with that, I would like to guide you through. I would want your, inputs, so that we make this session something where we begin with at 5, and we have walked at least 2 steps by the end of quarter to 6. So with that, I would want to put on this question to you all, is that who are we? So Harsha ma'am, I would request you to read through the responses that are coming in the chat box, and the quickest 10-12 responses, if you could share with me, it would be amazing.
Sure, ma'am.
Who are we? Come on, let's put up our own perspective, our own thought that comes to the mind as soon as we get this question. You can put it in your chat boxes.
Ma'am, Rima ma'am is telling I am a learner. Ritu ma'am is telling we are what we think. Smita ma'am is telling humans who can bring about a change. Rajni ma'am says we are nation builders. Zenubla ma'am is telling we are human full of talents and abilities. Uh, Sanvi ma'am says learner. Chaitana ma'am says God's wonderful creations. Then few teachers say we are change makers. We are continuous learners, multitasking human. We are the learner throughout life, facilitator for students. We are change makers.
Wonderful. With that, I think I get a very fair idea as to the participants here are very, very, very professionally driven, and they are so focused on about what they are doing, and they are very, aware of what they are doing. Definitely, we are change makers, we are nation builders, and we are doing a lot of things that can help the society be a better place. So, if when we go around with these variety of ideas, it so happens that after it's a very human tendency. Ki the moment one answer comes, the second answer comes, our thought processes start moving with in the similar line and length. So though we all sitting here are a heterogeneous crowd, but we start leading in one angle. This is what generally happens. And yes, when we are talking of introspection, it's great that we think as to what we want to feel at that point in time. So that's one thing where we have to be on guard. So if you put any other answer, wouldn't have been wrong, because this is a very open ended question, and of course these are the expected answers, not that anybody diverges from the topic. Definitely, for me, what I would say is we are one person with many roles. I call one PMR. We are one PMR. So we are one person who's having a lot of roles to perform. And when we say each of one year is a daughter, a sister, wife, mother, friend, colleague, neighbor, and above all, a teacher, right? So we cannot defy the fact, okay, there could be a few people who are not married, they could be who are having no siblings, but generally by and large this is the general population that we have. And of course I'm not overlooking the fact that we would have certain gentlemen who have also joined the streaming today, and the same roles go with them as far as a son, a brother, father, husband, etc., etc., etc. So we are that, and yes, above all, we are a teacher. Now, when we say teacher, we also come in with an every role. Now, if you talk of this first role that we are born with as a child, maybe a daughter or a son, we are coming in with a lot of duties, responsibilities, and multiple roles. So as we grow up, sometimes a daughter is like a mother to the parents, sometimes she's like a sister to the parents. Yes or no, you assume different roles even in that one single role of being a daughter or a sister or a wife, right? So we are one person with many roles, and each individual is especially a teacher. Because see, everybody else, when we speak of other professions and when we talk about teachers, teachers are the profession makers, right? It is what we make that they become, right? So it's extremely important that we cannot forget the fact that we are teachers. And with that, I would again come on to seeing that we are all social beings. We all experience emotions, and the way we experience emotions and the way we emote them may be different, but we definitely have somewhere or the other experienced embarrassment, right? For instance, at home, for instance, there are guests and you have made some tea and it hasn't really come out bad, or you forgot to put sugar in. When you're in class, you have probably you're walking and you suddenly trip, or there is a duster that you're using and it does suddenly fall. What happens? Children just giggle out for nothing. So yeah, you feel, oh my god, what's this, right? Or while speaking you fumble. It happens, right? And it could be of various levels. Again we talk about tension. I think this word I don't need to explain the meaning, because everybody has that tension. Maybe even you all had some kind of a tension ki, oh my god, today the session is starting at 5 and I'm not yet done with things. I need to hurry up so that I'm right here in the right place, right? Similarly, we have unfulfilled desires. We all are scaling through in life, whether it is professional or personal. We have certain desires, certain aspirations where we feel, or where we see ourselves going. And at times it does happen that we do not achieve those desires, maybe in the same timeline or due to whatever reasons. This is something which we all experience. Fear, I think this is also something which has become pre-COVID. I would say that people might have come across this emotion or no, but I think post COVID things have really changed, and everyone has experienced, every person has personally experienced fear either of catching up with COVID or having some dear one coming across it, or some sort of a situation. Am I right? So with that also, we also have a very common emotion, that is anger. इसका भी I don't need to give an explanation because we know what it is. And when we are teachers, this is the first thing that comes in the class when we are upset, right? There is a lot of discontentment ki हाँ we have, I worked so hard but I didn't get the kind of promotion, or I taught so much but the children didn't write, so you're so discontented and disappointed at times ki where you see somewhere, supposing your child or your student or your own child at home, where you feel that he or she would have achieved this kind of heights, it didn't happen. So this emotion definitely we all experience, and above all jealousy. And this is also a very human nature. What I'm trying to say is be introspect, and it's nothing wrong in accepting to yourself that yes, there is an element of jealousy in people. It could be for anything, for any good reason. Maybe उसकी साड़ी मेरी साड़ी से सफेद कैसी, kind of jealousy also could be. Or it could be something where somebody is outperforming and you are not so happy about it. Somebody is wearing something which you really love and you are not wearing it. So there could be various reasons for it. Anywhere, anytime, these emotions can come into us, right? That is one thing. When these emotions keep on coming, or we keep on generating them, when I'm saying introspect, I'm asking you to actually meet yourself very closely. If we are not aware of these emotions that are happening, which are probably to collectively called negative emotions, what happens is we land up to mental fatigue. We are so exhausted that we do not do things well, we do not face things well, and we start losing our confidence. Because of which, once we start losing our confidence, we start losing our self-worth. कि मेरे से नहीं होगा, we start becoming people who want to give up, and we could probably start losing our self-esteem, and also this would all bring us to a lowered output. Why? Because we have had these kind of emotions which are collectively impacting on us. Now, we all wouldn't have yet forgotten what was our situation when it was 2020, April 2020. If I'm not wrong and I have not over exaggerated, this was something that our scenario was like. Professionally and personally, we were all in a jumbled up place where we do not have house wealth, we do not have things coming in time, where the market spaces are open for a very short period of time, and we are asked to suddenly take online sessions, and we wouldn't be able to make leave aside videos, we weren't able to even get onto the net, or we were not able to make those worksheets or those ppts, and life was like this. But when it came April 2021, what happened? Automatically through the time, we all got streamlined. We could send mails, we could make worksheets, we could have chats, we could make videos, and we got absolutely organized at home. The situation was the same. COVID was still having its impact on us, but we were different. We not only started getting more organized with our work and things, we also started having plants at home, we started having pets at home, and life started getting back to a routine. So basically, when you look back at this chapter of our lives, what we come to understand is that overthinking is the biggest cause of unhappiness. It was in April 2020 and April 2021 was what the way we were thinking, the way we were approaching, the way we were wanting to see things, but it wasn't happening as per our expectations. We were having certain expectations कि ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. We were not accepting the situation, and that non-acceptance was what made us in a problem. So the basic primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, it is our thoughts. And our thoughts change as per what? Our acceptance and non-acceptance. Now we will just have a quick look at the causes of stress. because all of us have to make a balance. What's very popular these days, work life balance, is a very popular term, but 20% of the population is facing through a lot of stress because of this balancing act. Job security was also a question, and more so post COVID, it has pandemic, it has been more severe. Workload has been ever increasing, and I think when we are teachers, our workload, there is no limitation. I think all of us must have received lots of forwards where there is an endless list of the duties of teachers, right? Which is endless. We get tired even reading their entire list, but in reality we are doing this job day in day out for years together. And people's issues, which again challenges our social skills, right? So these are the main causes of stress. Now, stress is a very human reaction, normal human reaction, right? Stress is our physical and mental responses to changes and challenges. Now, like as just half an hour ago, I just had to put on my system and see that things are in place. Unfortunately, there I wasn't able to get through. So I was a bit stressed, but I did not get overstressed. I said, okay, this is how it is. It immediately got me to the alternatives that I could bring through. I bought in my dongle, attached it, and got it through. So that made me think. What I'm trying to convey here is that stress can be positive. It makes you think of alternatives that you have at hand, or which you could probably adopt to, right? Also, it makes you alert ki kya, what, when, where, what, why. All these questions can immediately you get responses when, like for instance, your child or your student at in the class is injured. What happens is immediately you feel that reaction, that rush in your mind, but immediately you start also looking for alternatives as to what you do, what's the quickest help that you can bring around, right? Also, it can keep us motivated and ready, and it avoids helps us avoiding danger, right? If we are if we are people who are very calm, okay, somebody has got hurt, fine, we'll discuss about it, and we are just not worried about it, we don't concern about it, we do not take it into consideration. What happens is we could probably fall into, or put the other person into a lot of problems, right? And stress can help people work harder and longer. As it is always said, stop not till you are tired, stop when you are done. So it's that stress ki we have certain deadlines, we have to do this job, we have to complete this task, and it's only then that I'm going to go to bed. That keeps you awake. It's the stress that keeps us awake. It's the physical and mental response that our body generates in us, right? So I want to ask one simple question here, and I want Harsha ma'am to, ask the audience to give their responses in yes and no. Is there anyone who feels that changes don't happen in your life or challenges you don't come across? I want to know whether is there anyone who has come across no challenge or no change in their life. If there's anyone, you please raise your hand and says yes, me. So, Harsha ma'am, I would want you to let me know if there is somebody who has come through such a life where he has or she has never faced any challenges or changes.
Sure, ma'am.
Is there anyone?
No, ma'am. All are no's. Our
So
teachers say
everybody,
no.
why? Because our famous quote as teachers is what? Change is the only constant, is the only thing that happens, which will never, it's inevitable. And challenges come every single day in a teacher's life, right? When we go to school, it's bound to come. So, what is the point is that we cannot change the fact that life will change. We cannot change the fact that challenges will come. But it is our level of responding, how we respond to it, is that is something which will help us make or mar the situation. So whenever we have too many challenges coming into our life, the increased level of stress that we happen to pile up one upon the other, and our response to those things is that what creates the real problem. It's not the stress. Stress is healthy, but the way we approach it, the way we respond to it is what is the problem. So the problem lies where? Within us, right? It's not the situation. When we go with the when we are affected with stress, what happens? Long, we have a stretch in life where we are very 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 stressed. होता है, it happens sometimes, बहुत सारी चीजें आ जाती है. Somewhere, senior citizens at home are unwell, the school is demanding too much of, work, and there is something that has come up where we are going in for some accreditation, and then also there is our child who's going to go to university. So all these things, personally, professionally, we are so piled up that we stop looking in, and we cannot have the energy to face life with ease. And that's when it starts manifesting in various forms, like physically, when you start suffering acidity, headaches, loss of appetite, you are having hair loss, or you are growing obese, or you're having chronic diseases. Now, whenever you say, okay, mujhe, I've often heard people say, mere ko bahut acidity hota hai, I get a lot of acidity very easily. Now, this is not something that is having your body is in problem because your mind has given sufficient problem to it. Otherwise, it has its own coping mechanisms. But just because we are unable to release the stress from our body, that we fall into all these problems. When we have physical problems and they are still not attended to, because we haven't attended our stress, we fall into physical problems. Physical problems are not attended, which leads to mental health. We are always anxious, sweaty, impatient, depressed, and restless. So these are all the manifestations that are our results of stress. इससे क्या हो जाता है? The way we talk, the way we conduct ourselves, the way we are behaving, everything becomes very 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 different. Or rather, it would be, one is irritable, one is not happy, one is never seeing the positive things of life. And what happens is, slowly slowly you start having strains in relations, there are arguments, and you start getting disassociated or disconnected hone se. There is a very big disadvantage, is that we are all human beings, social beings, and we need interaction. We need to be connected, we need to live amicably, to live what I said in the beginning was a progressive and a happy life, right? So everything is so interlinked. Now, why I this is leading all to more stress. Why I'm emphasizing this is that most of the time, if we believe that we have a problem, half the problem is sorted. The acceptance of that we have an issue is what allows us to look for a solution. The moment we do that, if we do not accept it, we are not able to find the solution, right? So we will not be in acceptance, and the more we do not accept it, we are from an organized person to an absolutely disorganized or confused person. You must have come across people, who are not able to do simple tasks also simply because they have a very they could be very intelligent, very smart, absolutely no issues, but it happens that they are unable to do things in a manner which sounds so simple to you, and that's because your levels of stress are too low, and that person is probably suffering through anxiety, right? So these are the small stressors that I would refresh through, though I do not need to, but uh, I would want to again, since we are introspecting and we are inside thinking about ourselves, we should accept that these things are common stressors for us. And just because they are common does not mean we allow that to take a toll on our lives, right? We all have to prepare class lessons and teaching resources. We are doing a lot of assessments, and when we are talking about teaching, we are not teaching just 40 children. There are so many subjects, or we are teaching multiple classes. Their assessment, their record keeping कैसे करेंगे उसका assessment, फिर assessment करने के बाद record keeping, laboratory preparation, board papers, exam papers, and it's an endless list, right? Preparing and getting approval of question papers and worksheets, which I think you all must have just gone through a little while ago. Preparing students for inter-school and intra-school competition, we get so involved with our schools, and we start taking that kind of pride that yes, our children who go out or who come into, must perform very well, or rather there should be a level of growth in the students. So our intentions are so clear that we go, we reach out to an extent beyond our limits to make things happen, right? So we have days of celebrations, festivals, annual days, and I'm sure now you all must have either finished with your annual day, and I do not need to say the kind of hectic schedule that have you been through, right? And immediately after the annual day, if you have a vacation, that Christmas vacation, it's like great. But if your annual day is shifted to January, then you'll continue right up to the stress, right? The strain is there right up to March, right? Field trips and various committees and preparing for PTMs, which is again very, very, very stressful task, because there's a lot of, questioning happening. You need to understand what are the problems. There could be parents who create a problem, even there's no problem. So all these things. Now, point being that these are stressors, but what's your reaction is what you need to be mindful about to understand and approach these things, right? Now, to manage our stress, we have to manage ourselves first, right? So that is where I'm trying to bring you to the acceptance. And I'm sure many of you are great at doing it, but there's always scope for improvement. So let's start loading ourselves to 2.0 version, and let's make ourselves the best version of ourselves, right? So, as a refresher, we are teachers, we are being we are being watched, we are being mimicked, we are being copied by our students, whether they are youngsters or toddlers or whoever. That is a known fact. So we at every point in time have to display or project honesty, be respectful when we talk, when we conduct ourselves with our seniors, with our juniors, with the staff, with the housekeeping staff, with our students. We have to be extremely responsible for every single notebook that is around in the school. We have to be responsible for all that one speaks, one does. So much so, our class teacher, whoever is the class teacher, the class is absolutely adopted by the teacher, and she is responsible or he is responsible for everything, right? Forgiving, disciplined, polite, and kind. So these are the things which we are generally doing as teachers. And mind you, it's not easy. But this is something which is like, we are on the roadmap and we have been accepting it. I put this point solely because it's a refresher, because ये चीजें हमारी personality में होनी है. We all have to have this in ourselves. Further down, we also have to start looking at ourselves. We cannot forget that fact. When we talk of physical self, I have heard many a times teachers telling in the staff room that I made food, I made batter, I made dosas for everyone, but that batter finished, so I came rushing to school without a tiffin. And then the teachers having either vada pav. Since we are from Mumbai, we are having vada pav very popular. So that's one thing which you're having that, and that's your meal. So this is something where we have to count ourselves in when we are working through our day. And yes, and people will say, yeah, where we get time to do so much, it happens, jane do. No, I'll actually pave you a path where you can do these things for yourself, and you'll help yourself out of many situations which could probably bring a lot of ill health to you. Our food habits, our appearances. Sometimes when I say, I'm not saying that you must look absolutely, oh my god, that that children are only looking at you and not listening to you. It's very important that the teacher is seen, but seen but is heard more, yeah, is heard to more. But at the same time, the appearances shouldn't be so this thing that a person looks stressed, drained out, absolutely looking as if one is dragging oneself. So we need to take care of that appearance, and it doesn't just come without taking care, right? Then our general health, walk, yoga. ये बोलेंगे, oh my god, madam is saying that you go for a walk and yoga. Here I am not able to get even 6 hours of sleep, right? Whoever is saying that, are there people who are there saying, Harsha madam, are there people who are saying they are unable to get even 6 7 hours of sleep? Kindly raise your hand. It's absolutely okay. Nobody is going to say how, who, how. We have to, you know learn to accept it that we are not. Is there anyone who is not getting 6 7 hours of sleep? Harsha ma'am?
Just a minute, ma'am. We need to give a minute time for them to
Yes, yes,
answer, ma'am.
yes, please, please.
Poonam ma'am is telling not even walk.
Not
And
even walk.
yeah, Mausami ma'am is telling yes.
Yes, in the sense they are getting time to sleep or they are not getting.
Ritu ma'am is telling no, I have my full sleep.
You have your way. That is very good. Congratulations, Ritu ma'am.
Shikha ma'am is telling really can't think of anything like exercise or walk.
Okay,
Nazneen ma'am is telling getting, but very difficult to take a walk.
okay,
Uh,
great. So,
yeah.
yeah, we are good with this. See, the people who are not able to take a walk, I would just say drop everything. Drop everything because you're the one who needs it maximum. Trust me. So you drop everything. Even if you required, you drop the session and go for a walk. It's extremely important because people who are unable to wanting to have a walk but unable to do so should drop everything and first start looking into themselves, because it's not that who will do my work then madam is saying anything. It's not that. Slowly, when you start, have you all heard of SIP, small investment planning? When you start doing this small investment in yourself, you will see yourself that you're getting higher returns from your own self. So ye start your work by 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Don't expect half an hour every day. Not happening. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Do you know what you say? One stop one stop walking. वो क्या कहते हैं? I forget the word right now. You can walk in your own house also there. Just put on some music and do some walking. Start somewhere with 5 minutes, then go to 10, then go to 15. But you will eventually see that these small savings of 100 rupees become 1,000 and then become 10,000. Similarly, these small investments become a big return to you. So drop everything and look into yourself for sure. Right? Now we look at emotional self. We have to develop patience. We are with children, we are with elders, we are with our seniors, with our juniors, with our colleagues. We have to develop patience. है कि नहीं? Because we cannot lose our temper and walk. It's not possible. For that, also, we need a very strong willpower. And we have to look into our personal front and professional front. Because I said we have 1 PMR. Anybody remembers 1 PMR? One person, many roles. So we have to have the balancing act. Now we have to look into this for sure. How? Yes, apart from that, though we aren't celebrities, but at all point in time we are being watched. So we always be our best, even including social media. They will People often say, yeah, this is my personal life, it has nothing to got to do it. But yes, we are having different personal lives and professional life, but we have signed up for being an educator. So we have signed up to the duties, responsibilities, how we say, no? When we are citizens, we have our duties, we have our responsibilities, we have our rights. Similarly, as a teacher also, we have adopted this profession, so we have to go with the rights and the duties that we have. Now, we rebuild self. Let's commit to defining the values. What value system are we going to live on? This is something which we have to redefine, even if we are at the age of 30, 40, 50, 20, 25, doesn't matter. Let's redefine. Even if you have very stringent values for yourself and you stand by them, redefine them and see that you stay with them. This will help you to be a de-stressed person. If not, then you become a distressed person. That's one thing which we need to redefine our values. We have to commit to self improvement to a great extent. You all have, because you all are attending different sessions that center is organizing, which where is always an upgradation program. So this is definitely, you are already committed, but we definitely need to look at areas where we need improvement and work on it. We need to stretch ourselves beyond our limits, as if we are on the line of a cricket field and the ball is about to go out of boundary, but we need to stretch ourselves and catch the catch, right? So we have to stretch as beyond ourselves. Practice what we preach. We are often teaching our children the best practices, best values in life, and we need to practice that too. And stay in good company, because negative company, or whenever somebody you have met and after that you start feeling bogged down, I would believe that you do two things. A, stop for some time meeting that person, think and try to see what is that person is so negative about, and start trying working on that person to make him or her more positive. I would not say just leave that person aside and just live your life. No, try to see what's that making him or her so negative and start working on it. priority matrix. I don't think I need to explain to anyone. This is the action: do first, do next, do later, and don't do. Delegation is extremely important. And as a teacher, I would give you now many I have given you a lot of expectations, or what are we trying to define or redefine or achieve, so that we are stress free, right? So when I have brought all those pointers together, those stressors I have brought in front of you, now I would want you to see how you can implement it into your lives, so that we can achieve ourselves to a next level. So always when we are working, we always need to maintain buffers in our planning. We are having planning cut to cut, our portion is enormous, our activities lots, our everything is lots, our timing limited. But in that also we have to, and it is possible. It's not that just I'm saying we have to do it, so we do it. No, it is possible. If there is a portion which are going to complete in say an hour's lecture, or say for 35 minutes, you plan to make it sure that you are able to complete that portion. You take to your class the portion which is going to be for 25 minutes, because when you go to class, you never know what problem are your children waiting for you, right? You have no idea, so that has to be attended, because if you don't attend that, your 35 minutes of speaking would be a waste, because students attention would be on their problem, because that is bigger for them. So we have to first sort that out, and then you have to go with the content, right? So maintain buffers, know your content very well. Now when we are saying that we want a better tomorrow, and when we say we are, we are investing today, small investments we are making. For instance, I start making 1,000 rupees saving every month, for instance. I have to cut down a little bit of my expenses, so that I remove that 1,000, right? Similarly, if I want to make a better investment today, I have to stretch a little more, right? So for that we have to put in an extra hours. But I'm not going to take away your sleep for sure. Just trust me. We have to prepare our content, we have to prepare it very well. क्या होता है when we go prepared, very well prepared to class, what happens is gives us a lot of confidence. It gives us a lot of confidence, and that gives a lot of positive energy. When we are well prepared in our class, the students enjoy it. Something that you wanted to complete in 25 minutes, you could complete in 20 minutes. Your energies are not wasted, because you are not sweating, you're not thinking what next, what next, what next. You have to be a master of your content. This will help you a lot of energy within. When you have a lot of energy within, you are well prepared to face the changes and the challenges that are inevitable, right? Know your students. Now this is something which I re-emphasize to every limit, because without knowing them, it's no point, like, teaching them, or putting on them. If they are unable to understand something, it's not because you are not teaching, or because they are not listening. It's because probably they do not know their prior knowledge, you don't know their entry level. Sometimes they have other things in mind, because of which they are not able to understand. Sometimes they have certain learning difficulties. So what we need to do is, we need to know the strength of the weak students, put in their extra hours, sharpen them so much with the qualities that they have, despite they being a little weak in their studies. They themselves will gain the confidence, and confidence gives you energy. So you gain a root into their lives. It's getting attached, it's getting connected. And once you are connected, my webinar is working because my Wi-Fi is giving me good bandwidth, right? So when you are well connected, your students, things go seamlessly across. Be professional. Don't mix up with personal life. Use time productively and avoid staff room politics. I know most of the people must have gone for the spelling of politics, right? Yes or no? Put yes if you have put it, seen it. Now, because we often have this habit of, forgetting the 99% that our child gains, but the 1 mark which he loses, we are attending on, right? So, hota, it happens. So be prepared for contingencies, proxies, extra responsibilities, inevitable. Also, as a teacher, be willing to accept your shortcomings and ask for help. This needs courage. We are teaching our children to be courageous. We are asking our students to be upfront. We are asking our students to be truthful. So also we ought to be. We all are having shortcomings. To perform our job effectively, if there is something that is missing, we must accept it. That happens with introspection. Or if some well wisher comes up and tells you, we need to ask for help, we need to take help. If you are good at something, give help. Come forward, even if they don't ask. Sometimes people are, as next to us are not happy asking or not confident to ask help. You must offer help, nothing wrong. Except that teaching happens only when students learn. This is something which I feel, teacher padake, she just leaves, and afterwards when she's correcting the answer paper, she is very disappointed and stressed. Why? Because she said, I taught so much, I made PPT also, but students didn't write anything. So this fact we have to accept, that they learn only when they learn that learning is happening. That's when teaching is successful. It's not just going and speaking and coming back, right? Be willing to take responsibility of your work. If it hasn't happened, it hasn't happened. It's fine. Take the best of all you experience. Every single thing. I'm sure today, maybe this session may not be absolutely productive to you, but there'll be one small thing that you will take back, which would be worth a lifetime, right? So we should definitely always look for it. Leave no opportunity to learn. And as teachers and school heads, it's always best to learn about child psychology, because that's where we are dealing with. The more we know them, the more we understand them. The more we understand them, the more they are closer to us. The more they are closer to us, the better they understand what we are speaking. And there is always a connect, and there is a less of stress because things are going smooth. Also, we cannot forget the fact that the classroom is the best teaching aid, and the students are the best resources. I'm sure many of us are using those resources effectively in class. You use the students and you can teach n number of concepts at every age, whether they are toddlers, they are elementary or in a higher secondary. You can, they are the best resources in class. Loads of skills like leadership, critical thinking, etc. have to be developed in them. This is again a very huge responsibility that we have, and we cannot refuse, or we cannot be in non acceptance mode that these are something which is these are some things which we will not do, or we cannot do, or which we have done. We have to absolutely give them the platform to perform. So we have to give them the sheltered experiences to experience and learn those skills. These are skills which have to be developed, they cannot be memorized. Also, there is something, again we'll come back to emotions, and we are really running short of time. When we come to emotions, we have an emotion which is negative. Anyone who can quickly give me a response, which is the most common negative emotion? Quickly on the chat, Harsha ma'am. Which is the most common negative emotion?
Ma'am, just a minute, ma'am. We need to give crying, anger. Few of the teachers are telling.
Yes, I was waiting for anger, because that is the most common.
Most,
Anger,
yeah.
crying, most common. It comes just like that. Gussa aa gaya, right? So when we are angry, we are totally convinced that some people are put on this planet just to test my anger management skills. Hota hai na? When I see this child now, my BP goes up. It happens. It happens. Anger is never without a reason, but seldom with the good one. So only if there's a good reason to get angry, we must try to emote that emotion. We shouldn't make it so easy to come out of us. The what this thing which helps us reduce our anger is humor, right? And a sense of humor is God's antidote to anger. The other ways of looking at anger is that every time you are angry and upset, think that Arey bapre, tomorrow if I'm not there, is it worth wasting my time? So better don't get angry. I'm sad, I'm hurt, I'm mad. You could have all these emotions because of various things coming up in your life. But what you will do is you will say it will hurt me, but I will stand up and survive. This kind of a emotion we need to generate within ourselves. So benefits of laughter is looking at the funny side of problems, looking at a different perspective without holding the bitterness, right? Laughter also helps us to release anger and forgive sooner. because ultimately we are dealing with children who are the sweetest creation on planet earth, and honestly we are really very fortunate to have children whom we are dealing with. Other thing is that ABC that we need to keep in mind is, don't act or react without thinking when any situation comes to your mind, to you, in front of you. Do not belittle students concerns because it's huge for them, it may be little or trivial for you. And do not compare. These three things also will keep you away from stressful conditions. So best thing is, keep at bay from stress. So now what I'll do is, within next 3 4 minutes, Arsha ma'am, if you don't mind, give me 5 minutes. I'll chalk out the plan that you could walk for yourself through. So an IAP, that is, we are always making plans for children. Let's make one for ourselves, which is a very simple prescription, right? We include all the activities that we have discussed through this 40 minutes, right? All those activities we need to include in our plan. We also have to have weekly activities, like watch some good comedy movie. You don't watch those aggressive things which are online so freely available. nahi. Go for comedy movies because that makes you light-hearted. Humor is an essential element of coming across people positively, right? So this is something which you must add in your plan. Weekly you will watch one good comedy movies. If you are falling short of them, you can connect me, I have loads of them, right? Bi-weekly activity, gossip for 5 minutes. This is also important, like how stress can be positive, gossip is also important, but 5 minutes in bi-weekly, because if we go beyond that now, then we start getting stressed. 5 minutes little gossip, healthy gossip is absolutely okay. That's a bi-weekly activity. Monthly activities, you can take up a book to read for on child psychology, which would probably help you a lot. And sometimes you are so stressed because you are unable to handle that child in class. So when you are equipped, probably it you would not be stressed. So that could be helping you to make your life better. And annual activities without fail. Review yourself and prepare to outperform yourself in the coming year. Whatever you are today, please do not compete with others. That only gives you stress. What was your best version today? And a year later, try to compare your performances with your own performance, and you will grow. The growth that happens internally obviously leads to external growth. So this is something which you keep competing with yourself. So to sum it up, the recap to our 2.0 version, we refresh our projection, we give importance to our own selves, physically, mentally, and emotionally. We manage our time effectively. At times, we must learn to delegate. We must learn to train our children at home and in school to, work in collaboration, accept things and tweak belief system. Sometimes we do not believe, as I said, like children are the best resources. We have to tweak that system and things fall into place. You don't have to be so worried about your class conduct. Manage emotions, add humor, and design an AIP for IAP for self. So with this, if we have summed up something, I would love to see each one of us, doesn't matter however caged you are, doesn't matter the circumstances may be really difficult, but let's pledge to be strong, carefree as this huge elephant in this small cage. Yes? Don't you see that despite all the hindrances, he is happy? So, this is what we need to be, because life is beautiful, life is precious, life is worth living. Why? Life needs to be progressive, peaceful, and prosperous, right? So, life is too short to waste it being stressed. With this, I think I come to an end with my session, and I thank you so much for your patient listening. Harsha ma'am, Harsha
Yes,
ma'am,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Uh, yeah, we'll be
yes,
giving a minute time for the participants to put their questions on the comment box, ma'am.
sure. I can stop sharing.
Uh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, Mary Sebastian ma'am is asking, people stress me out. How to avoid people who are stressors?
Okay, what you said was her name?
Mary ma'am.
Mary ma'am, very good evening once again. As I have been insisting that all we need to do is introspect, be mindful, and I also gave you a small example which can be related, that you are unable to handle certain students, but the moment you are able to, once you get that skill or the art of doing so, that same very child becomes your favorite. पहले ऐसा नहीं था, अभी ऐसा हो गया है. That's the reason, because it's not that he has changed, it is because you have got equipped to deal with the child, right? You are able to deal with his mischief, his naughtiness, or her naughtiness, or whatever, or with her shortcomings. You have skilled yourself to, you know, bring the best out of the child. So what we need to do is, we need to be mindful, we need to train ourselves to keep our heads on our shoulders and walk, rather than allowing the outside atmosphere to, you know, impact on us. So we need to be introspecting ourselves and understanding, why do we get irritated, or why do we get stressed from such a person. It's all within. How we look at it is what is important, right?
Uh, yes,
So
ma'am.
that
Thank you
same
for that.
person who could be, you know, after you change your ways of dealing with things, the way you look at things, that same person would not be somebody whom you feel today, is you feel about. There's a lot that we need to emit out from ourselves in that particular manner. Yes.
Thank you for the reply, ma'am. Nisha ma'am is asking how to tackle the slow learners.
See, slow learners is again a very huge topic, and it has been dealt with multiple times. It depends on what is the, you know, area of that needs attention, and what needs to be done. So that moves from person to person. In case you still need help, since I'm a psychologist, I can help. You can contact Harsha ma'am, and probably I could talk to you on a personal chat, or we could talk on mail, and we could sort things out if help needed. Definitely.
Thank you for
Yes.
the reply, ma'am. Thank you for the reply. There are one or two more queries, ma'am.
Yes.
Bushra Ansari. I don't know whether it's a sir or a madam. They're asking how to prevent a situation from getting too stressful to manage.
There is a very famous WhatsApp quote coming these days, you know, walk out. When I was saying walk, so we are talking about walk also, we are talking about walkouts also. Sometimes there is a situation where you see, if you are personally involved in it, one to one, then also walk out. If you are a onlooker, also walk out. I'm not saying abandon the situation, for then work out. There is a very simple theory in what we talk about in communication, is that there is a always a thought process. The moment you saw that, okay, this is Shweta Batra who's going to take us through 1 hour, each one of you might have got one first thought in their mind, yes or no, yes or no. Then maybe some changed their idea ki, yeah, this was what I thought, but this is how she is, right? There is always a, I call that T1, T2, T2, T4, T5, T6, T7. So whenever there is an aggressive situation, mindfulness is the answer to every situation in our lives. We need to understand कि अभी मेरा दिमाग मुझे क्या कह रहा है, what my brain is telling me to do. That's the very first thought. That is a T1. When in aggression, never attend to it. T2, don't attend. Let that process in your brain. T3, don't attend. When in an aggressive situation, at least T8, T9 cross होने के बाद, think of opening your mouth. Many a times, keeping quiet does not mean that you irritate the person that he is saying that he is asking for an answer and you keep quiet and smile. No. But yes, try to give the most sublime answer or response that is possible by you at that point in stage. It is difficult, but mastering your mind is a skill. We have said mastering the skill. We are not saying learn to do it today and it is going to happen. No, it has to, it is an ongoing process. From situation to situation, we have to keep on. understanding our own selves. I also have a short term for peace. PEACE. How do we get peace? Practice everyday act of correcting or controlling your emotions, that you get peace. Have you got my answer? So
Yes,
if you
ma'am.
practice every day the act of controlling and correcting your emotion, you will find peace. It is in our hands. Yes, madam.
Yeah. Thank you for the reply, ma'am. Rima ma'am is asking, as a principal, what to do if a member of staff says no to work or is a procrastinating individual?
See, if it is possible, I do not know the situation, but if it is possible, let that person not do the job and let that only person face the result of it. You understand? So if for instance, the small example that comes to my mind, for instance, there is something that has, you all have to prepare an Excel sheet and every teacher has to put her details into that. For instance, marks we think of, that person has not done it. Fine, no problem, leave it. Whenever all have finished and that person hasn't finished it, now you say, okay, no problem, you were late, I understand that there was a difficulty in doing this. I am sure there must be a very valid reason. Put it so coolly and calmly. Tell him, but now that we have been a little late, you put your part of the marks also and give me the analysis also, and we'll talk to it about it after 2 days. Simple. That's how it is. You make that person more responsible about the engaging the activity, also the after effects of the activity. Yes.
Thank you for the reply, ma'am. Vasundhara ma'am is asking how to manage if child beats mother but do not owe up.
Does not.
Owe up.
He beats mama but doesn't over up.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is again, there are lots of aspects that can be looked into. Uh, I would want, maybe I would not be able to give you the exact response to this, but this brings me to a very interesting aspect of being a teacher, is that whenever a student does something like this, it's not that he or she is doing this. There has to be various reasons why he or she has reached at that level. Maybe he's seeing he's witnessing a lot of aggression at home. Maybe he is not performing as per his peers, he knows it, which is getting him frustrated. And there could be a variety of things, but we as teachers have to understand that just because the child is like that does not mean it's the child's fault. There have to be reasons to everything. Today if I get angry on something, it's not necessary that I'm angry with you or at you, or that's the only cause of anger. It could be many other things that are there in the way which actually triggered this. So yes, this could be one of the ways of looking at every student in class, especially the so-called very favorite ones of our school. So yeah, we need to have a lot of patience, and it comes with being mindful, and it has nothing to do with age. It has that acceptance ki I'm a teacher and I am not getting bugged with this child, but this child is my project and I am having 9 months or 8 months with him or her. Let me see, I'm putting my children every single day for projects and gradings. Let me see how I do with my task. So let's take it up as an assignment where we slowly, slowly, slowly chisel out, and it happens.
Yes, ma'am. I think we have one more question, ma'am. The last question of the day
No problem.
from Nisha, ma'am. How to deal with an introvert child?
Again, many aspects. Why is the child I'm sorry, introvert or extrovert? Many reasons. हम हमेशा we look at the net result. I would always want to see the reasons behind anything. If today a child is performing very well in class, he is well aware, he's, has all the updates of what's happening around the world, we never think what to do with him. That time we should think, ki how come? Why? Because there is a conscious parenting happening at home. There is a conscious, he's a, keen learner. That is why he's trying to draw out every knowledge that he gets. Similarly, when a person is not talking, maybe there are, again, he is not performing. He may be willing to do sports but forced not to do so. Maybe in at home there's some sibling who's outperforming, or maybe a gifted student and he or she is not. Maybe there are lots of cousins, and there's a lot of comparisons, and I had given you the ABC of not doing it. So these things, it's not all about the child being at home or how he is in class. But nonetheless, if he is an introvert, you can do small tasks by giving them chota chota small small tasks in the class, which probably could be okay. Just sit down and give him a small task which he can do first at his seat. Next, when he can come out and do it at your desk. Third, which he can just write the date on the board or the thought for the day, or you can assign him the thought of the week. Small, 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 small steps, baby steps once you take. That lack of confidence is why generally a person is an introvert. So, that confidence building in these small, small measures can help you deal with the limited confidence that he has, can raise the level, and probably they could change. It's a very slow process. The patience is the key to everything. Extremely slow. We can't say, okay, today I made him write, 1 week I made him write the thought on the board. Once he writes the thought on the board, next time you tell him, okay, whatever you write, explain to me. After he does that, after a week, explain to the class. He'll come out of his shell.
Yes, ma'am.
But depends what's
Thank
the background, we need to definitely look out. This is just a generalized approach.
Thank you for the reply, ma'am. And also, thank you, Mrs. Shweta Bhatra, for a very engaging and informative session for our community of teachers. I am sure that our teachers have got a lot and lot of takeaways from this session. Thank you so much, all the participants, for engaging with us today. To register for more such upcoming webinars, please visit my center. Once again, thank you.
Thank you, Center, for having me, and thank you, everyone, all here who are on board. Thank you so much for your patience.